Christianity, in terms of size, is unarguably the largest religion in the world. According to a 2012 study by the Pew Research Center, 31.5% of people worldwide belong to a Christian group. Where I am in the United States, it's by far the prominent religion of the population. A whopping 70% of the US labels itself some sort of Christian. With well over 2 billion worldwide adherents, it shouldn't come as a surprise that many types of Christianity exist. Today, we'll be looking broadly at the different types of Christianity, focusing primarily on the three largest: Roman Catholicism, Protestantism, and Eastern Orthodoxy, and we'll be looking at how they grew to be what they are today. Let's start with the basics. Christianity is a religious tradition whose dominant mythology centers on a figure named Jesus. Jesus lived from approximately 4 or 6 to anywhere from 27 to 33 CE. These dates are a range rather than a set year because they are the best estimates made by scholars given the archaeological evidence and ancient textual evidence that we have today. When things are that old, it's a lot harder, sometimes impossible, to be specific. From the archaeological and textual evidence, we also know that Jesus was likely a Jewish rabbi who taught from 37 to 33 Common Era before being executed for political sedition by the Roman government anywhere from 30 to 33 CE. Though he died in about 33 CE, it was not until about 150 years later that a group of his followers were first called Christians in writing. Scholars have uncovered thousands of these early Christian writings, and they display a great diversity of small Christian groups existing early on. Most of these Christian groups, however, died out. In the Roman Empire, which was much of the ancient world, Christians were persecuted for their beliefs until Emperor Constantine made it legal to be a Christian in 313 Common Era. It was after this that the Roman Catholic religion became the world's most dominant Christian group. It helps to have the might of the Roman Empire behind you when you know they own the world. So yes, Roman Catholicism is not only a Christian religion, but it's Christianity way back before Christianity was really even cool. It was not, however, alone for long. About 700 years later, in 1054, the Byzantine Catholic Church, located in what was then Constantinople, split from the Roman Catholic Church, whose seat of power was in Rome. The split, known as the East-West Schism, was a culmination of a large number of political, geographical, and theological differences between the two churches. And these began in about 800 CE, 250 years prior. Essentially, the Pope of the Catholic Church and the Patriarch, or head of the Byzantine Catholic Church, excommunicated one another from their respective churches, meaning that they kicked each other out. Today, what was the Byzantine Catholic Church is known as Eastern Orthodox Christianity. Eastern Orthodoxy today, much like Catholicism, is very ritually dense. The Eastern Orthodox Church is known for their use of icons, which are intricate paintings of saints or important biblical scenes in wood. Orthodox is also the official state religion of Greece and some other countries as well. For the next 2 centuries, these two were the main groups of Christianity in the world, though Roman Catholicism definitely remained dominant in terms of power. Individuals, however, always had their own dissenting points of view. These men protested the theology and politics of the Catholic Church, which was plagued with corruption at the time. They protested they were Protestant reformers. And the Catholic Church saw them as heretics, or people who were, by definition, against the beliefs of the Catholic Church. A number of these heretical reformers popped up between the 14th and 16th centuries, and they left lasting marks. John Calvin, Menno Simons, and Jan Hus are all examples of reformers who broke small groups from the Catholic Church. In the 14th century, Jan Hus led a small reform movement before his execution for heresy. He was burned at the stake. Being a heretic was an often deadly occupation, more often than not deadly. John Calvin founded Calvinism in the 16th century. Menno Simons was the founder of the Mennonites. The major Protestant figure and leader of the Reformation was a man called Martin Luther. His name is probably familiar to you. He was an Augustinian monk who directly challenged the Catholic Church by nailing a document called 95 Theses to the door of the cathedral in Wittenberg, Germany. Though Menno Simons and John Calvin both operated during the same time, Luther is credited as the father of the Reformation because of the scope of his effect. Luther was the man behind the idea that faith alone is enough to save someone in the eyes of the Christian God. an idea that is still common throughout Protestant denominations today. Luther's split from the Catholic Church was the realization of the third major Christian group as they exist today, Protestantism. Protestant Christianity is the umbrella under which a great many Christian groups exist, like Baptists, Lutherans, of course, Methodists, and the Church of England. Quite simply, Protestant Christianity is most things that are not Orthodox or Catholic, most being the operational word there. These represent most Christian practitioners, but not all by a long shot. Other smaller Christian groups exist, like modern Gnostic Christianities, African and Chinese Christianities. They thrive in other parts of the world. These specific types of Christianities are examples of the way the religion has grown and adapted to cultures outside of Europe and the Americas. More information, as always, can be found in the links below. Controversial groups also exist. These groups tend to be those that consider themselves to be Christian, but may not be considered by a larger population to be so. One example of this is the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, or the Mormons. The Jehovah's Witnesses are another example of this. Both of these groups use the Bible in their worship and see Jesus Christ as their Savior, but may have other rituals or texts in their canon that are different and seen as too far from the norm by most of the adherents to the larger groups of Christianity. They are, however, considered by scholars to be Christian groups for the reasons stated above. The Bible is in their canon, and they see Jesus Christ as their Savior. As such, they are included in this video as Christian groups because they are. That's it. That's a quick, very basic rundown of the major branches of the Christian Church. As always, if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, please feel free to put them down below. If you like this video, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you can see what we're going to be coming out with next. Now that we've gone into a brief overview of these different groups, we have the opportunity to do a little more in-depth on each, which is really exciting. If you have a group or maybe an event in history that you'd like to see us do a video on, please put that down below as well. Thanks so much for watching.